Well, good evening everybody, hope you're all well. It's been quite busy here today. I've had lazily over and been working on a different quilt, but tonight it's all about this flowery one. And if you remember last week, I did say I was going to show you how to start putting the blocks together, because then if you want to do it as you're going along rather than leave it till the end and have lots of bits, it just makes life a bit easier. So if you decide that you're going to draw your flowers and then put your block together, it just makes things a bit quicker for you. So what have I got here? This is the blocks I've been working on, and you can see here I've got a certain sort of selection with my corners. What I'm going to do tonight is I've got 20 like that, but I'm going to show you the other version, because you see I've swapped around my fabrics a little bit here. It looks a bit different, doesn't it? Of course, you've got a bit of extra seam there as well, I'm not forgetting, so I can trim that and neaten it if I need to. So I'm going to show you how to do this block. So what do we need then? Of course, we need our tangly flower piece. And again, if you want to sort of put them together before you draw it, please feel free to do so. I've got my first sections here, and you can see that instead of using the red bit, I'm going to use the black here. That's going to be my first section. Then the next one, again, look where I've got the white here, I'm going to come in with my red. Then where the black is, I'm going to use the white. What I am going to do, and I don't know if you want to do this or not, I've actually got different corners. I'm going to stick with that. So I've got 2 red and 2 of the red patterns. Now these start out in the pattern, or as you cut them, as squares, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. It just makes life easier for doing the triangles, because I've been stitching a little bit today. So here we go then. The first things first, what I want you to do is you decide which is going to be the side. Is it going to be here or is it going to be here? Now, if you've got a piece that's a bit more obvious, just makes life a bit easier. But here we go. I'm just going to trim those little bits off there. I don't need those. And the first thing I'm going to do, you'll notice that I've got 2 different sizes, a short and a long. I'm going to start with the short sides, and I'm actually going to put them on either side. So I'm going to line them up, one there, see, and one there, right sides together. Now, I think in the pattern, if I can remember, it does say 1/4 inch. I'm going to a little bit bigger than that, because I'm actually using the width of my foot. So it's not quite 1/2 inch, but it's a little bit more than 1/4. But what I suggest you do is, once you've started with a certain measurement, stick with it. Go, because otherwise you're going to find that your quilt won't all meet together. So there's my first one. Slow it down a little bit. If I line up that next one, now you are going to need to have an iron handy with this, because you're going to need to press them as you go. So it might be you do 2 or 3 first, and you do all of this particular part and then iron them, and then all the rest. Okay, so there's my first bit. So if I just move my finished blocks out the way now, come to my iron, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it so that my white piece doesn't show any seam allowance. So I'm going to push it out. You see where there's my seam? I'm going to push it out and then press it down. Same with this one, like push it out, press it down. Okay, so there's my first one. So then I'm going to take my longer pieces, and you see now why they're a bit longer is because they fit there. I've actually cut mine a little bit longer, but I can trim them off. So here we go, lining it up, and again back in. So I'm using the same seam allowance all the time. Again, as I say, once you've done yours, keep it to the same. Don't swap machines, anything like that. There you go, that's the first one. Then into the next one. So again, I'm going to line it up. Notice at this point, I'm not doing any pinning or tacking or using clips or anything. They're small pieces, so they don't really need it. Here we go. Sometimes I think if you've got enough fabric, I always find it a little bit better to actually make them a little bit bigger, and then you can trim them off to suit. It just means that you're not going to fall short with anything, but in the pattern it gives you the actual measurements. Again, look, pushing outwards, so the seam allowance is going under the darker fabric. You see there where I wanted it to actually go into the seam there. You might find that some of your pieces you don't want that to happen. So okay, you see now what you've got here is you've got a seam going across the top there. So you see it there? And I've got the same at the bottom. So what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to take the shorter piece now of my red, and this is the side that I start with. So again, on there we go. Is that the right one? I made them, yeah, some of them I've had to sort of mess about with some of the fabrics tonight, finding the pieces. So some of them are a little bit bigger, but I'd rather do that so I could show you than start messing about cutting things. So I'm always doing a little back stitch at the end there, just purely because I don't want it to come undone. And if for any reason I do have to unpick any part of it, I know that these pieces are going to be secure there. Here we go. So along there, and again, little back stitch, off we come. Again, because my pieces are a little bit large, you see I'm trimming them off as I go here, so. If you would be happier using your rotary cutter on a board, you can press it first and then cut it. I'm just going to trim them bits off as I go. And again, back to the ironing board. Again, outwards. You'll get into the sort of routine of that. You'll see that that's how we go. And then I'm going to come in with the longer red strips. And just as before, I'm going to stitch them in place. So first one there, and again, you see this is why we have to press it in between, because if we don't, you can find that your pieces won't match either. So lots of things to be careful about here. Don't rush it. And the other side. On we go. Got a little back stitch at the beginning. Starting it off again. It's okay, it's just because it's going over that seam allowance there. There's a slight bit of bulk, but that's okay. Yeah, off we go. You see how it's building quite quickly, really. It's adding these little rectangular shapes together to start it with. Okay, see just a little bit there, but again, you can come in with your rotary cutter there, but I'm just going to trim that bit off. Okay, so we've got that nice and straight. And then again, you see here, we've got that seam again going across. So this time, I'm going to put my smallest piece this side. Okay, so you see where it's going all the way across. So where's that one? Yeah, in we go. And then offer them up, right sides together. In we go. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it, really? Once you've got the hanger, putting the pieces together like this, it's not too difficult to do at all. The tricky bit, I think, would come when you start to join them together, because you want your triangles in the corners to match. But I can show you that a little bit later on when we've got the pieces ready to go together again. And in terms of all the blocks. Okay, so along with that one. Again, little back stitch at the end there. Back to the iron. See, it's good for getting up and down, isn't it, this one? Into that one there. And this one here. And of course, last one now is we've got the longer piece of the white section. Okay, you see, fitting there. So it was only those middle bits I had to recut. I couldn't find them. And we needed to get them done. See, I'm going to line it up, make sure it's nice and straight, because this is a longer piece this time. So if you feel you've got to put a clip in part way through, that's fine. Just keep your fingers where you can see them. Okay. And just let it feed through. Okay, little back stitch coming. And then cut your thread off. Of course, last one. Back in there again. So I always do the first little bit there. This is coming from a factory floor training a few years ago, where you start it off, you line it up, and off you go. Don't want to worry too much about pins and things. Of course, you've got to do whatever makes you comfortable. And if that's all about you having pins in there, that's fine. And again, here we go. There we go. And another press, so back over. And over we go. Onto this one. And again into this one. And there is your main block section. Okay, so then it comes to, this is where we sort of said which way you're going to have it around, because what I've got here is I've got 2 plain squares, they are squares, and 2 the patterned. So what we're going to do, and you notice here I've pressed them down the centre, so I've folded them in half, put a press down, because what we're going to do here, and again this is where your pins might come in handy. Let's just put a few in there. There we go. There got all those. Is what you're going to do is you want to have it so it looks like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is open it out so you can see I've actually got that pressed line going here to here. And if I just put a pin in on that side, okay, so I'm doing all my left hand sides and my diagonal side here with this red, but if you're using the same colour throughout, it really doesn't matter. And again, let's put a pin in. Actually, I'm going to put a pin through the middle there so I can sort of come back to it in a bit. And then the same this side. See, I'm going to open it out and offer it up, you see. So I've got that kind of thing going on. In we go. The same on this one. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to stitch down there. You see how that's sort of going to come back on itself? Okay, let's do it. So I'm going to do all 4 corners at the same time. So here we go. Now you've got to make sure that your needle is in the seam there that I've sort of put in place. Let me just put my needle down. I'm going to take my pin out now. Okay, so I've got a nice row coming down. So here we go. Put one in there. Follow the seam all the way down. Okay. And then the next one. So again, bring your needle down into the fabric so it's directly on that pressed line. And you've got a better chance of it actually being in the right place. There we go. Back up and around into this next one. Again, putting my needle in. Again, you can use your needle on your machine if you want down, but it's nice to sort of get a grip there. And on we go. And a little back stitch again. Last one. Lining it up again. Down the edge. Now if you wanted to, before you actually put these corners on, it'd be worth just checking your measurements that all your blocks are the same size. Just in case you don't have to trim the odd one down. You never know, you know, when you're stitching it might change a little bit. So the idea with these now is what I'm going to do is this is too much bulk. So I'm actually going to cut it away, leaving a little seam allowance. You see? And then, same as before, I'm going to take my iron and press it outwards. You see, giving me my corner piece. So I do that on all of them. Let's do all the cutting as I go. So again, you might decide that you want to do this as a bit of a bulk or a batch, but sometimes you can do this. Do you know Maltese cooking? You can do one whilst while that's on the go. There we go, one there. Oh, take that one there. The last one. Turn that one in there. You see? So it almost got my corners. Just put that one in there halfway. You see? So I've got my corners in, and there's my block. Okay. So just while John puts the phone into its little stand, I'm just going to unplug my iron so it can come out of the way, and we'll have a look at the next flower that we're going to be doing. Okay, so let's have a little look then. Okay, John could go away now. He's all relaxed now. He got a bit stressed. So here we go. Let's have a look. So of course at the moment I'm working on this particular one, and I'm working on the plain ones here as well. Just going to bring that down a little bit. There we go. And coming back to our pattern. See all the instructions. Look at all it shows you exactly what I've just done. It's just that here, look, I've actually pressed the seams open, but as you saw in this one that I've just done, I've pressed the seams so they go in the same way. It's a preference, it's a choice, whatever you want to do, whatever works. And of course it does show you look, the corners, trimming them off, and then look how putting them together so they join. So yeah, that's coming. That's coming. All right then, here we go. So what we're up to, this one here. Let's have a look at this one tonight. And again, what do I have with me? I've got my regular pen, and I've got my Frixion pen just in case I need it. I'm not sure if I do or not really, to be honest. And let's start with this piece, okay? I'm going to use my mat underneath, it's fine. Okay, 1 second. Go on. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's have a little look at it. It starts look with, oh, I'm so sorry. It's because it's on the opposite side to where I usually have it. And there you go. Feels a bit weird. So let's have a look at this. So I'm going to start with a line. Then I've got a line with a little like a cup in it. Little loops. And then here it's got a little line in the middle. So let's have a little look at where this is going to sort of go. Let's start with that stem. Here we go. I'm going to bring it up. Here we are. And another one. Here we go. I'm just going to go and turn that light off so we can forget that there's a piece. That's better. And I'm coming in with that little kind of cup shape. Let's go a bit bigger in there, you see. There we are. A little piece on the top there. So it sort of fills in there a bit, so I'm going to fill it in a little bit. There you go. Okay. And then bringing in a loop. And then one other side. One there. And then as I sort of work my way around, I'm going to get another one in on either side. And then it sort of loops down and down. And then we want little lines in each one. Okay. So at the moment it's got a little bit of a row going off, so I'm going to do something a bit similar. Let's start with these little rows. Now notice as well, I've left space underneath because I want to consider my seam allowance in a little bit because I don't want this one going into that. So again, let's do these little loops. I've got two either side of that middle one. That's going to go underneath, and then let's loop it at the bottom there and put those little lines in. Okay, I think at this point, let's just go out a little bit. Let's turn it round. I'm going to give it a bit of a base to work on. A couple of little wavy lines there. And let's join it to the ground, so to speak. Okay, I actually quite like just the two of them, you know, sort of on their own there. But it has got in this lovely little curved line. We do this a lot with loops, and you'll notice it a lot on the other flowers that we've done. But this one differs slightly because it fills in that bottom section there. So we'll do another one. Fill in the bottom section. Let's do another one. So at the bottom there. And maybe one just to give it a little bit of a ground in there. And then a sort of a little one in the background. So make it look a bit like it's sort of moving backwards. Let's have a look at that. There we go. So bringing it in, and now because I'm working on this, I've got to remember, you know, because I'm using different colour corners, that if I want this to face the right way, or all be the same, this is my top left-hand corner. So this is the way it would sort of face. So what could we do that was different? What could we sort of create here? And I think what might be nice is to do it, because I've done quite a small one in that corner, is maybe do something in this upper corner. So let's have a look. I'm going to come in with my Frixion pen and I'm going to draw myself a bit of a, let's have a look. My pen doesn't want to work. It's been that kind of a day. Bit of a frame in there, see? Okay. Let's give it a little bit of a row. Of course, this will iron out later, so it doesn't matter. I can sketch away with this, it's fine. Okay. Put the lid on that one. And then I think this, rather than have sort of straight stems, let's sort of curve it over and down. See, let's bring that one over and down. You see, so it's curving slightly. Let's go in a bit more now. And then I'm going to do the same as before. So you're just putting that little sort of cup shape in and bringing those loops in. There's one. See, it was 2 on this side, 2 on this side, and then it sort of flops over there like that. Then little lines in between. And then let's have it sort of another one. So this is started there, let's bring it underneath, look. And over there, and let's take it under there. See how it sort of forms that curve. We've done this a few times now, so you should be getting used to it by now, hopefully. And again, a little fill in there. And let's do those loops. Again, you see the sort of the beauty of having the confidence to do it when it's in a block form is that you know where the seam or the edge is, so you don't have to worry about the seam allowance. Okay, so let's bring in another. So this time I'm going to go sort of over there, and then I'm going to go underneath and over. So it's kind of snaking its way around, up and over. And again, that little sort of cup shape. Going to fill it in. And along we go. Again, 1, 2, and a little loop at the bottom, like flopping over there. And the same there. And of course, putting those little lines in. Alright, let's have a little look at that. Okay, so let's bring in a few of those little bobbles. Remember, we filled in just part of it. So we're giving it a little bit of something that's balanced. Maybe on there, look. I don't want to sort of repeat it all the time. So don't think you've got to do 2 all the time there. It's just nice that it makes its way around. Okay. And then looking at what we've got left here, let's bring that in. See, I can end it there. I don't need to do anything with that at all. Whereas this one I'm going to have to do something with. So let's draw in these bits first. You see, going over and under. Let's bring it out there. So I'm going to bring one side out a little bit more than the other. And then let's put some little dots in there. Okay, so very, very quick ones they are. Not much stressing at all with those. It's a case of what do you want to do? Keep it nice and simple, or do you want to do something a little bit different with it? So I reckon we can get another one in if you're up for it. I think we could do that. Just need to find my pieces again. Let's a couple here. Some sort of wandered off. And here we go. Okay. So we're going moving in. We'll have with that one, another one of these, and let's see what we can do. And there. Okay, so tick off for this one. We've done this one, so I'm going to have a look at this. Now this one is sort of another nice flower, very, very similar, but instead of having full loop, we've got a little bit of a kink at the tops there, and it sort of works in fours, and then you fill in the gaps. So here we go then. I'm going to do a large one on its own, I think, starting with a bubble. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger in the middle here and put a bubble in. Okay, here we go. And then imagining sort of 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 and 9. Let's do that. A little bit of a kink at the top there. And then one at the bottom. It's like a little bow, isn't it? And then this way. One in this way. And one in that way. And then imagine that that's on the diagonal now, and here we've got a gap. We could fill one in there, one in this way, and on to the next one. See, you've got 2 gaps left. Into this one, and this one. Now looking at the centre bit here, if we go back a little bit, remember this flower starts with a bubble, so we could put that same design in there. So it starts with a kind of square. Let's go in a little bit bigger, there you go. And then we did another bubble. And then like a diamond shape. And then another bubble. And then in with a square and another bubble. So it gives you something a bit different, so you don't have to use that on its own. You can bring it in with things. So working with this as well, what's quite nice sometimes is if you put an extra sort of little line on like this, and a couple of them, it looks like it's sort of folded itself round a little bit. Gives it a bit of interest. And then let's give it some flicks. Work its way up all the way around. So you don't have to have 3 in. So it depends on the size of the flower you've drawn as to what you want to do with it. But it starts to give you a little bit of darkness in that bottom section there. So we go. And I see here where we've got the bits at the top. We can also come follow it down and just add a couple little lines on the top as well. I'm not going to worry too much, maybe just a little one there. Let me make it looks like it curves slightly. And then along we go. So it's sticking to the mat, isn't it? It's because I've got nothing underneath it tonight. Okay, up there. So let's have a little look at that. There we go. So it looks great, little one on its own, but I think it needs a little bit of a leafy kind of structure around it. So let's have a look at what we've done so far in terms of leaves. We've got these loops, which we've used a lot, our little tiny leaf shapes there. Again, there's those leaves. This one makes quite a nice one as well. Let's have a look. We've got these ones, got these here, this one here, and here. I think let's go with this one, shall we? But instead, you see where it's got little lines around, you've got like an extra line. I'm going to just keep it to this design because I want the flower to be the main sort of thing here. So let's bring out a line and another. Again, being mindful of my seam allowance. Let's go in a bit. And then I'm going to put a little line over the top there, sort of like a little smile. Look, there it is. And then coming from underneath the line, you see where it meets the stem there? Up and round. And this side, up and round. Now on the instructions there, which I'm not going to follow, as I say, you've got an extra up and round with little lines but I'm going to just leave it at that one there, like so. I'm going to put a few of those in, just to give it a little bit of interest. Okay. And a couple this side. See, little lines, little smile, up and round, up and round. And let's have one going that way. Up and round, up and round. And I'm not going to do it on all four corners. I'm just going to do it on these three. See, that sort of wanders around there. There we go. And one of our lovely little flourishes, a little line, look. Let's go a bit bigger. And here we go. Hi, Sue. Hello, everybody. I didn't say hello at the beginning because John had got the camera. So I have no idea what people are saying at the beginning. So don't think I was ignoring you. It's just that I was on the machine and I'd got John holding the camera there. And he doesn't pass on any messages. You know what men are like. No offence. I know what mine's like. You only get half the story anyway. He gives you the bare bones and you don't have any idea what he's on about. There you go. Look at those. Nice and quick, really. But they've made such a difference to that flower. See, little leaves either side. Let's bring another one out here. Now put a few on either side. Don't think you've got to fill one completely. You just want to do a little bit of something. There it is. Maybe one in there. There we go. Oh, there you go. How lovely is that? I'm just going to see if I can find one of my blocks. They'll be right behind me. So we can do another version of that. So again, if I wanted it to be the right way round, remember, I've got to have my left triangle in the corner. Top left there. So here we go. So we've got this design. Let's have a little look back at the flowers. There it is, but I've just done a large version. And instead of doing that one, let's sort of think about a few of them. What if we did a sort of let's have a look, a row of them, or a stem? So if I bring in my Frixion pen first, and just bring in a bit of a wavy line. There's some lines coming off it. You see? A little one there. And again, remember, I've got my seam lamps already covered here, so it doesn't matter. And again, I'm going to draw that little bubble. Let's do all of those. There we are. One for each one. And then those in there, a bit small this time. So either side. And then in the middle. They just sort of flow, don't they, really? It's not that it's tricky. Put a couple of little lines. I'm not going to do the bits falling over this time. Now, if I was to keep it in the same position, we'd have the flowers all looking the same. So I'm going to turn it slightly. And then I'm going to do my sort of my 12 and 6 o'clock again. And 3 and 9. And the little ones in between. There we go. And see, just having some little flicks coming out, like so. So, if I turn it again, let's do the same here. You just want them on a slightly different angle each time. There we go. See how it just curls round? And again, a couple of little flicks in there. Same in this one. And lovely how different they look. See, we've done exactly the same thing there as we have here. Just drew it a bit bigger, that was all. Okay, the centre's a bit different, but it'd be a little bit tricky to do something in these because they're quite small. There we go. And flicking it round. Again, another turn. And in with this one. Notice I've not worried too much about the stem being in the way. It's because it's with a Frixion pen. So I can use it when I need it and then iron away the rest. There we go. Little sort of flicks in there. Last one. Little sort of waves there. I notice as well, I'm just letting the pen glide over the fabric. I'm not trying to press on. I'm just letting it do its thing. And like sitting on the surface there. There we go. So let's bring this stem in. I'm going to double up the lines as I go. So it looks like they're all joined, you see? Let's go in a bit closer. You can see what I mean there. There it is, look. Along. Bring it back down. See, so I'm just thickening that line up, using it as a guide into that one. And then down here and up into this one. Along again. And then down into this one. And I'm just going to finish it off there. Okay. So same sort of thing, being that it's the same family of flowers, I'm going to bring in some of those leaves. Again, a little bit smaller than on the last piece, because the flowers are smaller. And again, you can put in as many or as few of these as you like. You can use any of the other leaves as well, really. It's whatever you want to work with. But it's nice to have that sort of same design or same flower, but bringing out something a little bit different with it. And see where it leads, really. Okay, and let's put one in here. Again, they sort of start to flow after a little while. I'm not going to put any in there because I'm going to bring those sort of waves again with those little leaves either side. See, quite small. And then join them to that edge. Same sort of here. Again, let's go a bit bigger so you can see it. And I noticed that this fabric's different to the one I was drawing on earlier. I couldn't get this. I brought this from the I think it was the NEC, the NEC last time I was there. So I can't remember who I brought it from. So I've gone in with a plain. There we go. Look, there's the plain cotton for the others, and then these ones have got this pattern behind. I think on Sewing Straight they actually did it. They did a bundle, didn't they, with dotties? So instead of being swirls, it was dots. Oh, hi Deborah. No worries. You don't have to be here on time. You can play me back later. I did go through putting one of the blocks together, so that's worth having a look at anyway. And here we've sort of been real quick, haven't we, going through these flowers? So it's quite a speedy one tonight. But not that I've rushed it. It's just how it's happened. So let's have a quick sort of recap on what we've done, because we've gone through quite a bit, haven't we? And I'll just tidy up a little bit. So here's the start. Here's the starting point. I actually went through how to do the block. Now you notice here, see, I've got the same fabrics but in a different place. So I showed you how to stitch that one together and how to sort of put the corners on. And then we looked at our flowers. So we've got this one, which is, let's have a look here. This one here. So we can tick that one off now. So our second version of that, so you've got 3 versions really, is this one. We did a larger piece. Let me just move up a little bit. There we go. Larger piece. We've got it on a little stem, and this one, it's the flowers sort of all randomly over the tile. So you could do any of those versions if that's what you want to do, whatever works for you. And then of course we did, let's have a look. Got to find it now. All over the place tonight. Here we go. Let's move that one out of the way. We did this one. Just a little cute piece on its own, isn't it? And then here we've done it as a hanging piece, so on a little bit of a border there. And again, let's look at both of those together. You see how quite quick we've done those. And then that's this one here. So altogether 4, 8, 12 now. We've almost done them. So next week we've got these 2 to do. So that's 1 week, 2 weeks, or actually I might even get through 3 next week. Let's aim for doing that. And then on the back we've got a few more. So we can, I think in the next 3 weeks we can probably get all these flowers done. And then it's all about putting the quilt together, isn't it? So my advice would be, as you've drawn these today, I would then go ahead and actually make the little blocks to sort of go with it, because then as you're going along, it's growing rather than you thinking, oh, I've now got to stitch everything. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick these little pieces up and I'm going to start creating these blocks with it. Oh, Letitia, the booklet, you can actually download it from my website. There you go, look, it's the Sanntangle Flower Quilt. There's actually 2 quilts on here, so this is the second one we've done. The first one we did was the where we did like set 1, 2 and 3. You can watch the videos and see how we put it together if you like. But this one, pretty straightforward in terms of we've got all the pictures of the flowers we're creating, and then here look, it tells you what fabric you need and how to cut it. Now of course, don't forget when you get yours you need to label your own fabric so you remember what you're doing. And we've just gone through all of this tonight, showing you how to put this first block together to get to, there you go, that point where we pressed the little triangles outwards, so we've got our little blocks. So okay, goodness me, we've covered a lot tonight, but go through it at your own pace, don't rush it, take your time with it and enjoy it. Even if you just draw these and you don't have time to sew, it really doesn't matter, whatever you're comfortable with. So with that all done and said, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it was informative. I say we've got through 4 more different versions, 2 flowers, 4 versions, and yeah, we've sewn a block together. So enjoy this one, have a lovely week. Please keep posting so I can see how you're getting on. I know I don't post a lot, I've had a crazy busy week, but we are watching what you do and we do look at it, so please, I'd love to see it. So okay everybody, take care, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and if you're doing the live tiles with me on my own Sandra Rushton page, then I'll see you there on Tuesday. So other than that, take care everybody, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.